Hi guys, Colesy. Today we're going to be looking at some PCs. More specifically, we're going to be looking at PCs that are ready for CyberPunk 2077. If you don't know about CyberPunk 2077, it's an incredible looking game that's coming out fairly soon. I believe it's going to have ray tracing capabilities. That's not necessary to enjoy the game, but you know, it adds an extra level of beautifulness. It's coming out for a number of systems, including PC. So of course, you might be wondering what kind of PC you're going to need to be able to run it. We got the answers today, so we all good, right. Handily Fierce PC have done a little blog here, which I'm going to look over, where they are listing the minimum specs, the recommended specs, and also we're going to have some recommendations for PCs from Fierce PC that you can get. Of course, you can use code Colesy5. Of course, you can use that to get a discount on these PCs, but we're going to have a number of different PCs which are different levels of performance, but all of them will run CyberPunk 2077. It just depends how much you want to spend and the quality of experience you're going to get. With all of these PCs, you're going to be able to play the game and have an enjoyable, nice, fun experience, so you don't have to worry about that, but it depends on graphic quality, ray tracing enabled, etc, which one you're going to want to buy. So we're going to have a look at a few different models of PC that Fierce PC have that would be perfect for CyberPunk 2077. Minimum system requirements. Operating system, I don't feel like that's worth talking about, but Windows 7 or Windows 10. Processor, an i5-3570K or AMD FX 8310. They're fairly old now, sort of third gen i5. Memory, 8GB of RAM. Graphics card, it's looking for a GTX 783GB or an RX 470, an AMD RX 470. DirectX version 12 and storage, 70GB of hard drive or SSD space. So that's the minimum system requirements. Actually, that is lower than I expected, to be fair, because of how incredible the game has looked. Obviously, when they're showing off footage of the game, they're using an incredibly good PC, probably higher than absolutely necessary to run this game and to be able to run these scenes that they're showing us to the highest of quality. So yeah, it makes sense that it's going to look amazing. But when you see stuff like that and you think that it's going to run on a system which is fairly old and not incredibly up to date by any means, even a system like that will still run the game. So that's pretty cool. 8GB of RAM. I would recommend 16 to anyone that's getting a PC. If you've seen any of my other recommendation videos before, where I'm talking about PCs that I'd recommend, or budget PCs, I always recommend going for 16GB of RAM. 8 just seems a bit little nowadays. A third gen i5 is again fairly old. We're now up to 10th gen. Graphics card is 780. That's pretty old right now. I do remember the days when I used to go pick up a 750 Ti because that was a decent budget graphics card. Now it's looking a bit old, an RX 470. So all in all, you don't need to have the mostest up-to-datest PC to be able to run it, which is good. That's good to hear for everyone out there who's running a bit of an older, bit of a more budget PC, then hopefully you'll still be able to play it. What we're looking at now, recommended specs. These are the specs that have been recommended by CD Projekt Red themselves. Operating system, Windows 10, 64-bit. Processor, Intel Core i7-4790 or a Ryzen 3 3200G. Memory, 12GB of RAM. Graphics, GTX 1066GB or an AMD R9 Fury. Again, DirectX version 12 and storage is 70GB. It's saying SSD, but again, it's up to you. You can store it on a hard drive. That shouldn't be too much of a problem. Not exactly the most expensive, incrediblest, stupidest specs that you're going to need to run it recommendedly. Again, this obviously isn't looking at ray tracing and stuff because neither of these, the minimum nor the recommended, are recommending that you use an RTX graphics card. But obviously, if you're wanting to do something like ray tracing, that is going to be necessary. An RTX graphics card is definitely going to be included in one of these PCs that we're going to be looking at. So let's start off with what is deemed to be the good PC for running CyberPunk 2077. We are looking at, on Fierce PC, the Aviator. So this is a AMD based PC. It's actually pretty darn sweet looking for the price. I mean, a lot of PCs are on Fierce PC, and especially, you know, use code Colesy5, they get even more better. Okie dokie, so let's just look at the general, the standard stuff that we're going to look at. So CPU, we're looking at a Ryzen 5 2600. Graphics card wise, 1660 Super 6GB. pretty decent. That should be better than the 1060 6GB that is on the recommended settings for CyberPunk. So that's good. 16 gig of RAM, always good to see. That should be the minimum, I reckon. If people are buying a PC, really go for 16 gig. 250 gig M.2 SSD. In terms of cooling, now this could affect your performance, but really you should be fine with a stock cooler. There's no problem. I mean, they are a stock cooler that are given out with the CPU for a reason. They work. I mean, if they didn't work, then the companies AMD and Intel would be in trouble sending them with coolers that didn't cool the CPU and end up with them breaking. So a stock cooler is perfectly fine. I would recommend having a terabyte hard drive as well as your SSD, just for pure storage. Yes, if you want to install CyberPunk on the SSD along with, you know, Windows and some programs, sounds great, perfectly fine. It'll boot up nice and fast. But really, you want a bulk bit of storage for storing games. So hard drives are perfect for that. All in all, as standard, the first PC, the Aviator that we're looking at from First PC, £699.95 as standard. Depending on what you decide to change, what case you pick, whether you decide to add a hard drive, it'll be a little bit different. As with all PCs on First PC, discount code Colesy5 will get you a bit of money off. Let's apply that coupon just to see how much money we're saving. Coupon was applied, that's good, that's what we want to see. So in particular on this one, you're saving £35 as standard from stock, so that's pretty good. So really, for about £665, you're going to be able to get a PC that's completely capable of playing Cyberpunk 2077 right out of the box. Shall we take a look at the next level up of PC, shall we? I think we shall. We are looking at the Lumina Hotshot. This thing comes with the beautiful, the absolutely stunning Lumina case, which is cool because this whole front panel can be removed and it is just an array of LEDs, and you can swap it out for different front panels if you want. That's just, you know, the first thing. But let's look at the specs that we're running with. Right, so this PC it is not AMD based, it is Intel based, which is a little bit different. I tend to recommend the AMD Ryzen based PCs nowadays just because for budget they tend to be pretty goddamn good, and for performance they're good for the money. Intel still what I'm using currently because it's what I know better, but I can definitely highly recommend AMD, and I know that their Ryzens are very, very good. We're looking at as I said, the Lumina case. That's pretty cool. i5, I don't know how to pronounce these 10th series i5s, but I guess the i5 10500, the i5 10500, I guess. I think from 8th gen onwards, the i5s have been hex core, which means 2 extra cores compared to maybe what you're used to with an i5. The older i5s have been quad core for a long time now, but getting those extra 2 cores, and it's also running at 3.1 gigahertz with a 4.5 gigahertz turbo, so pretty darn fast as well. Again, stock cooler. Again, nothing to worry about, don't worry about it. If you want to do a little upgrade and get a little bit more cooling on that CPU, you can, and it will run cooler, but it's not going to run at a temperature that is a problem with a stock cooler. In terms of graphics card, we're looking at RTX 2060. Now that is what I'm running, so obviously I'm going to say that's a good card. It is a good card, it's a very good card, and it's our first step into RTX ray tracing territory with the graphics cards with these PCs. So you're going to be able to do a little bit of ray tracing with this one. Even though I don't do a lot of stuff with ray tracing, don't play a lot of games with ray tracing, and haven't done that many videos on ray tracing, it is nice when you turn it on. It does make everything look absolutely incredible. In my opinion, worth having, even though I don't use it a hell of a lot, but hopefully more games like Cyberpunk are going to come out with ray tracing capabilities, so we're going to see more ray tracing in future, and everything is going to look amazing. 16 gig of RAM, again, pretty darn good, and this time we are getting a 500 gig SSD as opposed to the 250 last time. So upgrade on the SSD. Again, I would probably recommend you add a hard drive, even if it's just a terabyte. Gives you a whole bunch more space to install games, which is always good, because you're going to want to, even though this is a PC specifically with Cyberpunk in mind, you're going to probably want to install more games than that and stuff. So it's not a bad idea to have that extra room. In terms of motherboard, power supply and stuff, you're all good. They're always going to work. That's the beauty of First PC. They're not going to let you select components that will not work together. So as far as we're concerned, motherboard is fine, power supply is fine. They're decent sizes anyway. 650 watt power supply, fairly decent. So for this sort of middle of the range Cyberpunk ready PC, we're looking at £1,019.95, £1,020 pretty much. But you can again use discount code Colesy5. It's still here from when we added the last PC. In this case, you would be saving £51, so you would actually get this for under £1,000. Onto our final and most readiest of PCs for Cyberpunk. If money is no object to you, or you have a lot of money to spend and you want to get the best PC that money can buy, the best PC for Cyberpunk 2077, the Luminous Cyberpunk RTX 3090. It's in the name. Cyberpunk is in the name, so we know what this is for. It's for Cyberpunk. Again, we're using the Lumina case, absolutely stunning case, and I love the fact that we're going with the sort of cyberpunky, futuristic-y looking cyberpunk themed case front panel. There we go, I'll get words out eventually, and it looks goddamn beautiful. Again, interchangeable as with the rest of the Lumina cases, but let's look at what we're going to get here in terms of the PC. CPU wise, we're going with an AMD Ryzen 7 3700X. That's an octa-core, that means 8-core CPU. Very nice. Pretty damn good CPU you're getting there. We're going with a 120mm all-in-one liquid cooler, so we're not going with a stock cooler this time like the last two PCs. We're going with liquid cooling, which again just helps keep the CPU nice and chilly, keep the CPU a bit cooler, which means it can perform slightly better. This is the excitingest bit. We're going with an RTX 3090. So this is the newest and best graphics card from Nvidia. It is a 24GB card. That's mental. I don't need to say it really. It'll be incredible. It will be absolutely incredible. Again, got ray tracing. It's an RTX card. Got ray tracing. Got 24 gig, so it's packing a bunch of power. I can't think of any game that wouldn't run on it, because there probably isn't any. In terms of memory, again, 16 gig, standard, pretty good. 500 gig, Gen 4 M.2. That's as far as I'm aware, that's the most recent generation of M.2, so it's going to be super fast. As I've said before, whacking on a hard drive just for some storage, or maybe just increasing the SSD. But I mean, if you want to save money and have as much storage as possible, grab yourself a hard drive. With this one, there's very little that you'd want to add. I would think it has everything. What does it not have? We got the liquid cooling. Yes, you can go with a larger radiator or a different brand of liquid cooling. Yes, a larger radiator, more fans, etc. is going to give you better cooling performance, but really, I mean, you're already getting pretty damn good cooling performance from the GameMax Ice Chill. So you've already got that. In terms of RAM, yes, you can upgrade to 32 gig. Again, that's up to you. Probably not going to need it for gaming and stuff like that, but maybe if you're going to look into video editing or having 1,000 Chrome tabs open, you probably want to get more RAM. So it's an option. You can do it if you want. You don't have to. It's fine. I mean, for an extra £9, you can get slightly faster RAM and still get 16 gig. Probably won't notice a massive difference between the two, but it is only £9 extra, so it's up to you. Motherboard, again, I don't really see the reason to upgrade it to the other motherboard. It's going to cost you an extra £170. I don't really see the necessity of it. For most people, this one will be absolutely fine. Everything's going to work. All your components are going to work with it, so no issue there. 850 watt, pretty goddamn nice. You could upgrade to this one, which is just it's platinum power supply, so it's a little bit more efficient. Again, up to you. Don't really need to upgrade that. It's fine as it is. But other than that, that's pretty much it. I mean, you can add keyboards, mouse, etc. on if you wish. Monitor if you really want. I mean, this thing will probably run this 43-inch ultra-wide 4K 120Hz monitor in most games, no problem with that 3090. So if you really want to, slap that on for an extra £929. So like I said, Lumina Cyberpunk RTX 20. The Lumina Cyberpunk RTX 3090 24 gig gaming PC for £2,619.95. So just whack that discount code in, we'll click apply coupon, and we'll see how much we save on this bad boy. If you use the code Colesy5, you'll save yourself £131 on this PC and get this absolutely stonkingly good PC for the incredible price of £2,488.95. We'll get it for under £2,500, and that thing is going to be the best PC that money can buy for Cyberpunk. very jealous of anybody that buys that, because that is just an incredible PC. Hope you guys are looking forward to CyberPunk. It does look awesome, and hopefully soon enough we will be able to play the game and have some fun times with Keanu Reeves. That sounded weird. I just meant chill out with Keanu Reeves. I didn't mean anything weird. If you are looking into getting one of these PCs, please do let me know in the comments. If you have a certain budget that you're working to and you're looking for the best possible deal on a PC, feel free to message me on Instagram or Twitter at Colesy Gaming on both of those, or drop me a comment here and we'll figure a way how to chat, and I would be happy to help you figure out what the best PC you can get for your budget is. I've done it with a lot of other people and I'm happy to do it. It's always fun for me to do a little bit of researching and designing / planning PCs. If you are looking for some help, then feel free to message me. Of course, use code Colesy5 as mentioned many times in this video to save yourself 5% from Fizz PC. It's a bunch of money. It can end up being a whole bunch of money. It's free money. It costs you nothing. It saves you money. You might be able to get an extra upgrade by using it. You might be able to buy yourself a game. In a lot of these cases, you could probably end up saving enough money to buy yourself a copy of CyberPunk. So that's pretty good. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe if you did enjoy it. And I will see you guys next time.